I bet you want to know just how effective the new AI missiles are. Well, let's find out. Now, the focus of this video is going to be testing the AI interception function. That is basically how you create missiles with the new automations beta. Remember, yes, beta, this is still in a very early stage and testing, so things are going to change, but let's see how effective these missiles are. So let's get started. Now, configuring a missile is super easy. Jump on the AI block, activate the intercept pattern, and the first thing I want to target or test here is threatening subsystems. This has four options. Default, that usually is go for power. Then we've got power sources, propulsion, and turrets or weapons. So does the threatening subsystems work how we think it works? So when I've set this to target power systems, you're correct. It goes straight for the power systems. When I set this to target weapons, it went straight for the turret on the test grid. When I set this to target propulsion, it went straight for propulsion, and the decoy block had no effects on it at all. So that's something that's quite valuable that we've learned from that. It's interesting that the decoy block didn't have any effects, because you think it would. You think the decoy block would mess up any weapons targeting, so the decoy blocks would be targeted first. You'll have to let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. There was one issue though that I think I'm going to have to report to Keen, is when I change the targeting systems like this and then move it to fire at the next target, it will fire at the previous target unless I delete it and paste it back in, like that AI block needs to be refreshed or something. But anyway, let's keep testing. Now, I followed up another test with the subsystem targeting. This time I set it to default because I wanted to try and understand the order that the weapons would be worked through. So power systems were targeted first, weapons were targeted second, and propulsion was targeted third. Note how the AI stops for a second after the subsystem is destroyed to recalculate its next target, and it takes a moment at a time that could easily be intercepted by some cannon or weapon fire. Now, the next setting I wanted to look at was target priority, and in here we have three options. We have closest, largest, and smallest. Now, the one thing I didn't get to test with this is when it says largest and smallest, does it mean block count or actually size of the grid, like small grid or large grid? It'd be better if Keen specified that. Now, in my testing with this, it did target the small grid all the time over the larger grid in the background, but I wasn't sure if that was just because it had a smaller block count to begin with, so some additional testing here when this is released is probably going to be required. So let's continue down this rabbit hole that is targeting. I want to understand how this missile is finding targets. Can it navigate around the targets? Can it see through walls or see through objects to get to targets? Now, the first thing we need to have a look at here is the refresh rate of the AI. So the lower we set it, the more likely it's going to change its target and in turn make a missile that's pretty useless, because as we saw, as the missile changes target, it momentarily pauses while it regains its new target. So we're looking at setting this anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds, so it has one set target. Now, the downside to this though is if we have that target refresh on too long of a protocol, the target that the original missile has gone for might be destroyed, and it'll send further missiles into the destroyed target before it refreshes. I hope that makes sense. It almost makes sense as much as the missile knows where it is, because the missile knows where it isn't. Now, from my testing, the missiles seem to work on a line of sight basis. If you've got other information, drop it in the comment section. I don't mind being corrected by you guys. But they seem to work on a line of sight system. So by placing these smaller targets and setting these as a priority target, the missile easily navigated through the larger block and targeted them. Now, when I hit the smaller block behind the wall, but at the same range, it couldn't see it. So it's definitely working on some sort of line of sight. It's working out what it can see and what it can't see, and then targeting what it can see. Now, of course, with the refresh rate, if a target of opportunity becomes available after something's been destroyed, for instance, it will then lock onto that, preferred target and destroy it. So it's all quite interesting. But what was even more fascinating was when I cut down the block size of the target to a small little hole, exposing a small ship behind it that was the priority target, it managed to thread the missile through that one block square, and I have to say that is damn impressive. Yes, the target's static, but still, that's really cool. It's nice to see that there's that much accuracy available from these missiles. Now, the next logical step in this is taking it to the server. There is only one issue. The beta has ran out, and that means we can't test this feature. Well, we can. Keen have a secret AI missile block from one of their scenarios, and of course we've managed to have this working on our server quite some time now, and we know its capabilities and limitations, and it works very similar to the AI block without the options and settings. So let's see how the players react and respond to missiles.
Getting coming in. Move. They're coming.
I'm moving. Yep.
They have warheads inside of
Holy
them.
shit.
Yep.
I just lost rear thrust
I don't know.
on the left side.
One rear thrust is down. Yep.
Grid missile. Grid missile.
Bad missiles. Bad
Oh.
missiles. Small grid missiles.
Yeah. Point defense, why are you not working? Oh, we're out of
How's it going?
Why is it always me?
I'm patched up.
No,
It's just as it's gonna
did
be.
you get away with them?
Yeah.
Jumping away.
Kitchen, you are our bullet shield.
This is ridiculous. I feel
I'm
targeted.
not doing it on purpose. I just don't like you.
Have you done the Frosty thing where it's just like you put my specific Steam ID in the code and specifically
No.
target me?
I never do that.
No.
Coming back in.
Maybe someone could fly in front of them and block them for you, occasionally.
Sacrificial.
Yeah, just align yourself occasionally with the grid in the way.
Oh no!
Good
Mark, can you
idea.
patch the holes that suddenly formed.
That was a good tactic
Oh.
occasion.
Hang on.
Just to dodge the missiles.
Yeah, we also have point defense set to. There would be a custom turret shooting it, but the custom turret has no ammo anymore.
Damn.
That's how much.
Your weapon core burns ammo, so.
It
Yeah.
really does. Seriously, that's why I put keep ammo in the events usually, so you can. Well,
Yeah, I had 500 autocannon magazines, and I thought it was going to be fine, but no.
no,
they're
that's
gone.
not even a minute.
There you go.
That's
no,
not even a minute on
really-
standard. Yeah, I found the other one and I patched it. So. Alright, right, coming back in.
Oh, I'm dead. I've died.
Keep your ship there. I think they're getting quite.
Now, the first thing that we learned that a singular missile or 3 or 4 missiles are useless. They get intercepted extremely quickly, and especially with weapons core that we're running on the server at the moment. In a standard sort of world, yes, they might get through, but still likely to be intercepted. It all depends how you set up your warheads. So as you can see, the missiles travel towards the player in a large swarm, with many of them getting shot down. The player's reaction at first is quite stunned. These are such small targets that are coming up on the HUD. It's actually flashing 7 or 8, 16, 20 targets at once, and it's overwhelming the player's defensive systems, and that's how you would use the missiles. You need to overwhelm their defensive systems so that you can get some strikes on target, and still at this rate we only had probably about maybe a 20% success rate. The hits that we did land though were very successful in disabling key systems. These particular missiles are set to target the player's grid in general. I can't mess around with it or play it, so you can see the missiles are impacting, doing damage to their systems, and are being relatively quite effective. Now, what did the players think about this? Well, this is a mixed bag of fruit here. Some of the players thought that the missiles are a little bit cheesy and annoying. At the same time, they were effective, and the easy strategy was to simply jump away from them. If you did this with the missiles from the beta, if you jumped away from them, they would find the next closest target and then lock onto that and go and destroy that. But these missiles keep tracking that one player as the target, so even if they jumped away, the missiles got back on their tail, using their very limited supply of hydrogen, and eventually they struck the target. Some of the defensive tactics that you could use to slow the missiles down though is of course flying away at maximum speed and intercepting them behind you, but that requires you to be aware of where they're coming in from, especially dealing with other threats around you and other enemy ships. Some of these missiles are going to land on target, and I think that's what's really cool about these. You could release a swarm of these in a battle at the beginning and cause some mayhem for your opponent. You can even release a swarm even when you're using weapons core, and it just messes up the HUD completely. Yeah, so missiles are damn effective in my opinion. I can't wait to get the bugs ironed out of them from Keen. It's probably the best part, to be honest, of the beta and the automations update, because it means more custom weapons on the battlefield, and I feel that custom weapons in Space Engineers are probably the most fun and exciting part. Yes, you can have as many turrets and Gatling guns and stuff as possible, but the player-made weapons is what's special about Space Engineers battles, and seeing one work successfully is so damn satisfying. Anyway, Let me know what you thought of this video in the comment section below and give me your feedback on the missile system.